Why do we have attachments? Abhinavisa or graha means to grasp, hold, or cling to anything, or to cling to things as real. Grasping means to cling, to adhere, or to stick or attach oneself to. Holding, grasping, clinging, attaching on the belief of the reality of ego and things. Attachment or love growing from thinking of others. Love also means the mind of affection, attached to forms, which binds us with the ties of worldly passions and desires. Attachments are what keep us continuing the cycle of rebirth. Devout Buddhists, who vow to follow the Buddha's path of cultivation, will not act like ordinary people, who cannot see through or renounce things. If you cannot get rid of attachments to self, mine, and dharmas, and if you continue to have the marks of self, others, sentient beings, and life's span, then you will surely encounter a lot of trouble. If you know how to get rid of attachments, and step back to consider things calmly, then no matter what happens, you will always be able to see things as they really are, not as their outside appearances. According to the Buddha, becoming enlightened is nothing other than cutting off all attachments. We can become attached to other people, things, experiential states, our own thoughts, or preconceptions. Grasping of love, or the strong attachment of love, the bondage of desire. However, from this bond of love can also arise pity, which is fundamental to Buddhism, the holding on to the reality of self, and things and the consequent hindrance to entrance into nirvana. If we have even a particle of attachment, we have obstructions. With obstructions, we are not able to escape the triple realm. Therefore, it is necessary for any sincere Buddhist to break through all attachments. When we reach the point of having no attachments, we regain our true being. Right now, no matter how much we want, nothing we can obtain. When we reach the point of not wanting anything, everything will be ours. In the Four Noble Truths, Buddha Shakyamuni taught that attachment to self is the root cause of suffering. From attachment craving springs grief and fear. For him who is wholly free from attachment, there is no grief, and much less fear. The more attachments one has, the more one suffers. If you don't have attachments, naturally you are liberated. In the Lankavatara Sutra, the Buddha reminded Mahamati, "O Mahamati, there are innumerable signs of close attachments to the world by taking letters as exactly corresponding to meaning." In the Dharmapada Sutra, the Buddha taught on attachment of love. Death carries off a man who gathers flowers of sensual pleasures, whose mind is distracted, as a great flood sweeps away a sleeping village. The destroyer brings under his way the man who gathers flowers of sensual pleasures, whose mind distracted, and who is insatiate in his desires. According to Buddhism, there are many different kinds of grasping. We have attachment because of love growing from thinking of others. Love also means the mind of affection, attached to forms which binds us with the ties of worldly passions and desires. We have attachment because of clinging to the idea of self, atmagraha, cling to the idea of self, or the natural or instinctive cleaving, clinging to the idea of self or soul, holding to the concept of the reality of the ego, holding to permanent personality, or holding to the Atman. This holding is an illusion, the false tenet of a soul, or ego, or permanent individual, that the individual is real, the ego an independent unit, and not a mere combination of the five skandhas, produced by cause and effect disintegrating. This attachment is developed as the result of erroneous reasoning. We have attachment because of clinging to existence, or clinging to emptiness, non-existence. Some sects believe that it is better to be attached to existence, though the attachment may be as big as Mount Sumeru, than to be attached to emptiness, though the attachment may be as small as a grain of dust. However, once we thoroughly understand the Buddha's teachings, we will not be attached to any extreme. We have attachment because of clinging to the ideas of human impersonality, not unreality of things. Insiders who hold the Abhidharma, or Sarvastivada tenet, which recognizes human impersonality, but not the unreality of things. We have attachment because of clinging to idea of nihilism. This theory believes in nihilism, claims that after death, there is nothing left. Man born from dust will return to dust. This is what scientists believe. They say every person conceived by the fusion of a sperm and egg will live his life and will die, thus terminating his existence on earth. This theory does not conform to the Buddhist law of causality. In Buddhist view, men are tied to the cycle of birth and death, the cycle of reincarnation. This cycle turns around and around, compelling men to reincarnate in one of the 6 realms. Buddhists believe that nihilism is false because it is based on incomplete understanding of reality. We have attachment because of clinging to the idea of things as real, abhinavisa or graha, or to grasp, hold, or cling to anything, a tendency for settling down in the mind. We have attachment because of clinging to our own views, lagna samkhya, adhering or clinging to one's interpretation, or views obstinately held, with consequent delusion, bigoted. We have attachment because of grasping to the past, the third of the 6 coarser stages. In the awakening of faith, retention of memories of past joys and sorrows as if they were realities and not illusions. We have attachment because of clinging to eternalism. This theory believes in eternalism, believes that man was created by the will of some deity. He will live his life and act according to his beliefs in order to return to heaven or to be condemned forever in hell. This theory does not conform to the Buddhist law of causality. In Buddhist view, men are tied to the cycle of birth and death, the cycle of reincarnation. This cycle turns around and around, compelling men to reincarnate in one of the 6 realms. Buddhists believe that eternalism is also wrong, because Buddhists cannot accept that there is anything either in this world or any other world that is eternal or unchangeable. According to the Buddha birth story, there is a story about the trapper and the monkey. How does a trapper catch a monkey? He takes a coconut and makes a small hole in it. He then puts some peanuts inside and outside the coconut. Before long, a monkey will come and eat the peanuts on the ground. Then he will put his hand in the coconut to reach the peanuts inside. Holding the peanuts makes his hand bigger, so now he cannot pull it out through the hole. He cries and gets angry, but will not open his hand and let the peanuts go. Finally, the trapper comes and catches him. We are like the monkey. We want to be free from suffering, but we will not let go our desires. In this way, we remain caught in samsara because of our own attachments.